Hi everyone, I am Gökdeniz Yiğit and I am freshman student in Bilkent University. My department is Electrical and Electronical Engineering. Today I am going to introduce you my Physics 101 project, which called Inclined Plane Experiment. I would like to start with introducing my equipment. A cube to break down the inclined plane, a stopwatch to calculate time, which will help me to calculate average velocity, a ruler to measure the height of the inclined plane and the distance cube went through, a scale to measure the mass of the cube. I will use the mass in the kinetic and potential energy equations, and of course an inclined plane. First, I have measured the mass of the cube. Mass of the cube measured 36.55. And then I measured the height of the inclined plane, which is 32 centimeters for first experiment and 16 centimeters for second experiment. And after I measured the way cube goes to calculate average velocity, the way is 90 centimeters for first experiment and 45 centimeters for second experiment. And the rates are same because the angle of the inclined plane is same. After the measurements, I made the first experiment. The time takes in the first experiment is 1.59 seconds. After this, I made the second experiment. The second experiment takes 1.1 seconds. After doing the experiments, I calculate needed values to calculate the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface. To calculate the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface, I use the energy loss in the experiment and I divide it to the distance goes and mass of the cube times gravitational acceleration. And after all these calculations, I found the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface as 0.26. After whole experiment, I compare my value to the real value to calculate my error, which is 6% for both of my experiment. To conclude, this error is really close to real value of the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface. And I learned that this is a good experiment to calculate the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface. And of course, the kinetic friction coefficient of the surface is same in both of my experiments, because the surface of the inclined plane and cube is same. Height does not make any difference. This is everything about my Physics 101 project. Thank you for listening.